Hi folks, and welcome back to Travels with Paddles. My name's James, and today we are at Sainte Marguerite on the Dourbie, tributary of the Tarn.
Here's a map of the route, and total distance was 12.3 miles. Welcome back to our adventures in the Tarn. It's day 3, and we're not actually starting on the Tarn, we're starting on a tributary called the Dourbie, launching from La Roque Sainte Marguerite. The guidebook that I bought to help me plan the Tarn trip suggested that the Dourbie was pretty much 5 miles of continuous Class 1 and Class 2 rapids until the Dourbie meets the Tarn. And it certainly wasn't wrong. Within a few meters of launching, we're already into our first rapid. The rapid ends with a short, clean drop that is not particularly difficult to negotiate. A good warm-up for what was to come later. Sometimes there are short flat sections between the rapids, but still with a fair amount of flow. And in some places, depending on how much rain there's been, the water is really quite shallow. Our plan for today is to paddle right down to the end of the Dourbie, then join the Tarn to paddle through the centre of Millau. We'll then pop out of the other side of Millau and have the opportunity to paddle under one of the main objectives for this holiday, which is the Viaduct de Millau, the extremely large road bridge. The Dourbie also flows through an extremely steep-sided gorge, which still presents some very beautiful scenery. At this point, the canoes decided that they weren't particularly happy with the number of rocks in the rapids and also the lack of water depth. So, as we'd only travelled about a kilometre since the start of the paddle, they decided to pull out and walk back up the road to get their cars and call it a day. I know this was a tough decision for them to make, but with hindsight it was actually a very good decision because we were about to face some fairly challenging rapids. An interesting point to note here, Dan sees the rock and turns away early. This means that he gets his boat clear without any problems. Hannah initiates the turn a little bit later, and because her boat is longer and more difficult to turn, she ends up with a swim. Good job keeping hold of the paddle though. No harm done, and she's soon back in her boat. There's evidently been some pretty crazy erosion on this rock. This next rapid was probably our greatest challenge. We had very low visibility of what was going on further down the rapid, so we decided to pull out and do some scouting. The decision was that this rapid wasn't really suitable for this group. However, portaging on this side of the river was near impossible due to the thick undergrowth and the steepness of the bank. We needed to cross the river above the rapid, so Dan went first to help catch kayaks before they engaged in the rapid itself. I'm just grabbing my throw line here as an added safety precaution. Dan makes it across fine, so the rest of the group can follow. We take it nice and easy, one by one. Another boat nicely caught. We then had a pretty brutal portage. This boulder field is what we're essentially trying to avoid. Now you may look at this and say, that's easy, why didn't you paddle it? If that's the case and you're happy with it, then by all means go for it. But it wasn't suitable for us. Yet more portaging to get over the final rocks, but at last we're getting back into our boats after about 45 minutes to an hour of hard work. This really was the trickiest rapid on the route. Below this we had no problems. Really not sure what's hanging from the bridge there. Maybe some form of marker buoy that's been swept downriver and got tangled up. You've now got a long sequence of easy but really quite fun little rapids. Again, not very much water here. In the height of summer it really must be quite difficult to run this river if it's even possible at all. As you start getting close to Millau, the Dourbie definitely flattens out and slows down. This weir really marks the end of the white water on the Dourbie. Just before the Dourbie joins the Tarn, there's a nice area to pull out for a spot of lunch, although for us it was raining at the time. So after a really good morning session, it's time to say goodbye to the Dourbie and hello again to the Tarn. And almost immediately we're approaching the town of Millau. That little bridge with the sluice underneath is the start of the Millau Whitewater Centre. We didn't run it because we didn't know if we had to pay or not. Right in the heart of Millau is a colossal weir. Very much runnable though in the levels that we had. And just after the bridge there's another weir, although this one has a nice canoe slide built in. Then at last, we got our very first glimpse of the Viaduct de Millau. Surprisingly, there were even a couple of rapids here. And here is the viaduct. At the time of recording this video in 2023, this is the tallest bridge in the world, with a height of 336.4 meters and a length of 2,460 meters. As we paddled closer and closer and realised just how tall this viaduct is, we had a real feeling of elation at having achieved the goal that we'd set back in 2018 of paddling underneath it. Soon after the viaduct you start to see the village of Peyre, where we knew, after having parked there earlier, that our get out was marked by this tree. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video of day 3 covering our paddles on the Dourbie and the Tarn. Please do check out day 4, and until next time, stay safe on the water.